Sonic Blast is the fifth and final traditional Sonic game for the Game Gear, debuting in North America in 1996. Again, as the Game Gear screen isn't suitable for video capture, we'll be using the version found on Sonic Mega Collection Plus for the PlayStation 2. The first thing you'll notice about Sonic Blast is the dramatic shift in art direction. Gone are the cartoony worlds of previous games, and in are pre-rendered 3D landscapes made popular by the Donkey Kong Country franchise. In fact, I'd say Sonic Blast looks more like an 8-bit Donkey Kong Country fan game than a bona fide Sonic release. Still, the overall art direction is pleasing, capturing the feel of the Sonic universe with what was popular during the time. The next notable feature is Knuckles, who is finally a playable character in a non-racing role. His trademark gliding and wall climbing are here as expected, offering a nice change of pace compared to Sonic. Speaking of Sonic, he has a double jump in this adventure, very similar to the Thunder Barrier shield from Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's a great addition, helping Sonic match the versatility of his echidna friend. Also improved are the controls. In the previous Game Gear games, I complained the jumping felt stiff. Sonic Blast feels much more similar to the 16-bit titles. Momentum is spot on, the jump arc is excellent, and overall, Sonic Blast just feels smooth. Sonic Blast starts off strong as well with Green Hill Zone. Along with the previously mentioned aesthetic overhaul, the backgrounds here are vastly improved. Rather than sporadic clouds, there is a full background layer that adds a bit of depth to the game. The stage itself is a bit basic, but there are multiple pathways through the zones, and overall, it's a satisfying experience. This is carried over into Yellow Desert Zone. Again, the backgrounds look great, the set pieces are detailed, and the level design follows the tried and true Sonic formula. I could have done with a few less spike traps, but since you don't lose all of your rings when hit, I can forgive the somewhat sloppy placement of enemies and traps. Sonic Blast starts to falter with Red Volcano Zone. Enemy placement and stage hazards start getting very sloppy, resulting in a ton of cheap hits. There are lava traps everywhere, and simply navigating through the stage is a very tedious exercise. But Red Volcano can't compare to Blue Marine Zone. This combines two of the level design choices I hate most in a Sonic game: water and mazes. Each act is filled with tubes Sonic and Knuckles must navigate through. Unfortunately, not all of these move you forward. Some loop you backwards, and then you are tasked with memorizing which tubes you've been through and which are uncharted. While doing all of this, you must be sure to grab air bubbles or you drown. These acts offer almost no fun whatsoever and just drag the entire game down. The fifth and final section is Silver Castle Zone. This feels like a typical final zone with an industrial aesthetic, plenty of spikes, and new hazards. Warp panels are also introduced, which can make navigation confusing, but without the threat of drowning, it's not nearly as bad as Blue Marine Zone. While the level designs have some highs and lows, the bosses in Sonic Blast are probably my favorite of all the Game Gear titles. While still laughably easy, they actually feature patterns and weak points. This is a huge step up from the incredibly dull and broken bosses of past games. Blue Marine Zone may be a tedious zone to get through, however the boss is actually somewhat clever. In addition to hitting Eggman's cockpit, you have to stop and grab air bubbles from his harpoon. While not brilliant, the fact that you have to perform multiple actions to take him down is refreshing. Also noteworthy are the hidden bonus stages. Here, you have to collect 50 rings to obtain a Chaos Emerald or Extra Life. They take place from a behind view and do a reasonable job being both fun and visually impressive. Another highlight is the music. The compositions are pleasant and catchy, though they are far too short and repeat a bit too quickly. The instrument samples are great though, and Sonic Blast has to be one of the more technically impressive soundtracks on the limited Game Gear hardware. Sonic Blast was one of the final games available on the Game Gear and marks the end of Sonic on 8-bit hardware. Many consider Blast to be an abysmal game, citing control issues, awful graphics, and terrible level design. Myself, I find Sonic Blast to be very similar to the other 8-bit titles. The controls are improved, the graphics have evolved for better or worse, the level design is a mixed bag, and the bosses are enjoyable. Each of the Game Gear titles feels like a compromise, and Sonic Blast is no exception. This isn't a groundbreaking game by any stretch, but the good outweighs the bad. 3 out of 5.